Imagine if this was a road.
Yeah. Hey, I'm in my mech suit right now. It's just made out of flesh. Oh yeah, we're gonna get hit.
Yeah. Almost. You almost got hit.
Pump fake. Bring up the thoughts of Ted Kaczynski. How do you guys feel about friggin' his thoughts?
Yeah.
It's just not very conducive to walking or being a human that doesn't have a $35,000 SUV.
But I mean,
that's for us guys.
yeah, he's following us around.
Decomposed bird foot, just kind of chilling on
These
it.
extra parking spaces are to give the people who want to do donuts somewhere to do donuts at night. Because there are quite a few donut marks on these parking lots
It's about
out
vehicle
here.
safety.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself!
Yo, what's up, internet? Welcome back to another episode of 3 Averagely Intelligent Dudes. Today we're outside. What's good?
It's the real world, guys. No metaverse today.
Like,
We are talking about pedestrian dignity, or the idea that you should be able to walk places where you live. You shouldn't have to have a car. You
yeah.
should be able to move with dignity. Let's say you got a wheelchair, you know, access to the Burger King.
Should be able
How's
to.
the person in the wheelchair supposed to get through the drive-thru?
Yeah, exactly.
You should be
How
able
are they
to.
supposed to get through this?
I was gonna say, this is a
Overgrowing
good
the
start
sidewalk.
right here. We got a big bush. Just so we thought that we
Cinder
would,
blocks.
rather than just make this some pontification in the studio, we'd go and walk around and explore these areas like this. Imagine if this was a road.
Yeah. Hey, I'm in my mech suit right now. It's just made out of flesh. Hey, watch out, buddy. Watch out, buddy. Watch out, bud. Hey. All right. Hey, that's how you walk, right?
I mean,
Anybody else coming through?
no, I'm gonna go around.
What if you're in a wheelchair?
Well, I'm not in a wheelchair.
Yeah, if you were in a wheelchair though, it'd be impossible. I'm not going through that. But my point that I'm trying to make though is like, if this was a road, if this was Craig right now, they would have a whole crew come out and sweep that up in a day. Like you wouldn't even allow it in our society to like have a road just blocked by random foliage or like a
No
tree or like a power line or something. But on a sidewalk, nobody pays any attention or gives any fucks about the idea of like being able to walk.
I mean, rich people don't use sidewalks. Who's making money off of a sidewalk? I don't have to get a loan to walk on the sidewalk. You
That's
know what
totally
I'm saying?
true.
I don't got to drop 6 G's to
That's
put,
true.
you know, my transmission back in my,
Nobody gets a commission for the sidewalk either.
yeah, my Chevrolets work great.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess we are kind of privileged in a sense, like Vegas, or I don't know, you know, like I think it's different in different cities, you know, and different infrastructures, how they're designed. Because I mean, I would say somewhere like New York City is far more walkable than it is designed for cars.
It's an old city.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you have to think about old European cities.
Yeah.
They're extremely small in the sense of like walkability, and especially in the downtown areas. That's why the downtown areas of most even newer cities like Vegas are still very walkable, because they were built in a time when not everybody had cars.
That's true.
And so the more cars became prevalent, the more cities were designed with that in mind. And so they stopped thinking about people being able to just get around on their own. Now they were just accommodating vehicles.
So, little pushback there. I have a hometown with a old school downtown that is on the East Coast, pre-car, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, they don't have any crosswalks. Mm-hmm. They have the white lines on the ground, but we're talking about a downtown that's been revamped with like $82 million worth of projects in the last year. And it doesn't have crosswalks. It doesn't have a button you can hit that gets you protected across the downtown. It's literally just, there's stoplights and lines on the road.
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess you're right. It's not just necessarily, but you don't live in like a metropolitan area either, though.
50K population. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
lot of cars moving.
That's true. Let's talk about Vegas. We might be a little privileged in the sense that we live in like the upper side of town, where it's still being built, right? Like there's not a lot. We just talked about it. A lot of construction, a lot of people still building things, and they're putting in sidewalks, and that's great. But the design of it, the design of our infrastructure as far as cities goes, isn't conducive to pedestrian life in general. Like here we are, we just came off the sidewalk, we're walking down the street, and we're gonna pull into this shopping center here. It's a nice little Dollar Tree shopping mart.
I wonder if there's going to be anywhere for us to hang out that doesn't require us to go inside of a business and patronize them.
Well, my first thing is like, how do I get there without trekking across this gigantic roadway and
Come in your car. Duh.
crosswalk? You know, like there's not even a place to approach the building from a safe, like without interacting with cars. Like we literally are gonna have to just trek across the middle of this driveway, which a car can't buy in the middle. And I mean,
a walking lot, it's a parking lot.
You know, and it's weird that we don't have any pedestrian bridges or any type of like, you know, designation for places. I mean, we got HOV lanes. You know what I mean?
For more than one person.
Yeah, a car, you know, like look, there go a car right there. It's just so easy to get hit in parking lots for this very reason. You don't have any.
Sure that's where most people get hit.
That's what I think too. It's like,
I'm gonna look
you
that
know?
up. Oh, look, there's a bird right there.
Well, we've safely traversed the driveway. I'm gonna come up into Dollar Tree.
You know, where you're supposed to bring your family to hang out. It's a community center, you know? It's where everybody goes to, you know, talk to each other, have interactions.
We don't have this.
Yeah, that's the joke, right?
Yeah,
is
we don't
that
have
in
this.
current culture and society, you drive up silently, you make your purchases, you don't talk to anyone but the cashier.
Cool.
Oh, wow. A study from the National Safety Council found that more than 50,000 crashes occur every year in parking lots and garages. These aren't just fender benders. At least 60,000 people are injured in these crashes, and at least 500 people on average die every year.
That makes perfect
collisions in a parking lot or garage.
Dang, people dying in parking lot crashes. And so if you're a pedestrian,
I mean, this is the place where there's
how do you even get?
the closest interaction between pedestrian and car.
Yeah.
Like the parking lot is where it happens.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And people are popping out like in between spaces on you. You know, get to see them and stuff.
Look at all the places to sit down, guys.
I mean,
I would never hang out at the Dollar Tree.
But,
Yeah.
but hear me out here, guys. We are in a strip mall that's got barber shops, it's got food places, it's got places to get your groceries, it's got dentists, it's got everything you want. Nails. I mean, if you were to come here with a group of a family, you're telling me you wouldn't want to go to different stores, right? If everybody doesn't want to go in the store, where do you go? Where do you wait?
The car.
I'd say most people probably want to sit in the car with their AC and all that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just don't think that it's really.
We're in the middle of a desert.
Like, I bet you if we go in front of that sports bar, it's probably got somewhere to sit.
Yeah, you think so?
I disagree. I disagree. I don't
Yeah,
think
maybe
it
not.
is.
They probably want you at the bar.
There's outdoor, there's
Yeah.
outdoor eating areas, but even an outdoor eating area, you need to be a patron. You need to come. The whole point of a strip mall is to come up and spend money and then leave. They don't want you to hang out or make a community. They're not going to shade you from the desert sun. That was a long day, guys. Let's hang out under the awning.
I mean, they did provide a bike rack, so that's kind of cool.
And they put the bike rack in the shade, which is nice.
that is nice. They're thinking that.
We're giving them some kudos for the bikes. We got a little bit of some.
There's some bike
Bike-friendly
considerations in some cities,
to get
but
up onto the sidewalks.
we really have been pushed into an idea of not walking.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
And if
120
you-
parking spaces, 7 slots for your bike, 0 benches.
Yeah,
It tells a story,
yeah.
you know.
But I do wonder what with Max pushback too in that sense. Like I wonder what came first, like the chicken or the egg. Like, you know, did we just pigeonhole ourselves? Everybody just started driving cars, you know, and so that we just stopped seeing a need less and less to create any type of, you know,
It'd be a good
pedestrian
time to
infrastructure.
bring up the thoughts of Ted Kaczynski. How do you guys feel about friggin' his thoughts?
Yeah.
I heard he's spoken many things about these types of topics.
A walking man formerly could go where he pleased, go at his own pace without observing any traffic regulations, and was independent of technological support systems. When motor vehicles were introduced, they appeared to increase man's freedom. They took no freedom away from the walking man. No one had to have an automobile if he didn't want one, and anyone who did choose to buy an automobile could travel much faster and farther than a walking man. All true. Great points. But the introduction of motorized transport soon changed society in such a way as to restrict greatly man's freedom of locomotion. When automobiles became numerous, it became necessary to regulate their use extensively. In a car, especially in densely populated areas, one cannot just go where one likes at one's own pace. One's movement is governed by the flow of traffic, and by various traffic laws. One is tied down by various obligations: license, driver's test, renewing registration, insurance, maintenance, safety, monthly payments on purchase price. Moreover, the use of motorized transport is no longer optional. Great line. Since the introduction of motorized transport, the arrangement of our cities has changed in such a way that the majority of people no longer live within walking distance of their place of employment, shopping areas, recreational opportunities, so they have to depend on the automobile for transportation. Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's the biggest point for me at the end there, is the fact that, like, because of the cars, they've altered the way that we think about the literal structuring of our physical spaces. And so therefore, yes, like, unless you live in downtown somewhere, which is usually more expensive because it's like more hip or whatever, but those areas are the only areas of the city that are walkable, if they are walkable at all. Like we discussed in John's hometown, Mooresville, they are not.
Yeah, very, very much not so. If you go from where the majority of people live, and even if you look at middle class, not just poor people, the majority of middle class people in Mooresville live on this side. If you want to walk to any fast food place you work at, if you want to walk to the sports bar you work at, anything like that, we're talking like crossing 6 lanes of traffic, no sidewalks, walking inside of a guardrail with a ditch. It's just not safe.
Drainage and shit.
Yeah, and it's like I said, 82 million in city projects, and you can't figure out how to let people walk to work safely.
For real. Goopy stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's some goop around.
Some goose poop or something, you know?
Can you believe that? Even the benches aren't even clean.
Yeah,
Even if you wanted to sit down, you gotta sit next to like goopy shit.
Hey, but we found a bench, you know?
We did.
Might be covered in MS-13 graffiti, but you could sit in front of the Home Depot.
You know, it's a weird place for a bench, though, too. Like, I mean, you gotta kind of give them props for this bench. Like,
this is the minimum effort to me. This is like you're
I mean, how many benches do you need?
Well, it's not
in front
so
of
much,
the Home Depot.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. It's not about the fact that there's just a bench or just an area to sit. It's about like a gathering place, a community place. That's the whole idea here, is that there's no community or spot where anybody wants to come here and spend time in any place other than their car. You come here in your car, you go inside of a business. It is made not so that you could come here and enjoy, I don't know, sunlight, non-fluorescent lighting, the breath of fresh air.
There's a brilliant, giant park not even 10 minutes from here.
I was going to say the same thing.
Like, we can walk there from here, and it's a beautiful park. It's huge, but I'm just saying, like, that's not what this spot is for.
Yeah, the park is designed for humans. Where you shop for your life necessities is designed for cars.
My question to you is, do you want to loiter outside of Staples?
The business culture currently is that you can't, because you would have to go inside if you wanted to escape the heat and hang out in this area, and they would ask you, hey, are you going to buy anything? Because that's the culture there too, even if you have a business that's not like that. If a business is just like, yeah, just come hang out, man, we want foot traffic, we want you to come. Conducive to conversation as well. I love that about this bench. You have a nice conversation with your friends without hearing.
But I definitely
a fart
agree.
machine drive by.
I mean, I don't even know if we can hear any of this because the phone's kind of far away too, and the road noise. So it'll be tricky a little bit. But
there you go, road noise. So your gathering area, your bench, is designed, I guess, for resting, not for.
No, it's not for
else.
hanging.
No, yeah, this is not a community spot. This is the staple. This is the bench where you can take a seat underneath this very not shadeful tree and rest from walking from the Home Depot to the
Staples. Yeah, because that's the one thing I've been trying to think as we talk about this is like, how would I reimagine these spaces to be more conducive to pedestrian life? In the sense like this is a place for shopping, right? Like that's its main targeted focus. We're in a shopping center, that's what they call it. So it's like the idea that I would be able to hang out like comfortably in the shopping center, it does seem kind of foreign to me. It feels like almost like I'm like, do I want to hang out in the shopping center? Like if that's the case when I go to the mall, you know?
Okay.
People
So
do hang out.
they
hang out at the
used to,
mall.
yeah.
Like that was the whole designing about
This
the mall.
is a mall.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're
it's a
sitting
type of
in a mall,
It's a
like
type of mall.
100%. So this is a mall with no gathering area. This is a mall where you're not supposed to just go with your friends and hang out. This is a mall where you drive up and drive away. It's just, that's the way it's
But no
designed.
indoor malls have a Home Depot.
That's true.
Okay, another good point too I want to make here is that everyone who's shopping here right now does not have a car.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
I'm saying that it's designed very specifically for you to have a car.
Yeah.
If we walk to the Target, it's designed for you to drive up. That's why there's 7,000 parking spaces behind the Target.
Let's go.
But my point, okay, so what was the point I was making?
Is that everybody here doesn't have a car, but does have a car?
No, I'm saying that, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
So the point is that it's designed for everyone to have a car.
Yeah.
But the people that shop here, there's got to be a large number of people who don't have that. They don't have personal transportation. So if you're going to do your shopping at a place that's designed for you to have a car, you are at a physical disadvantage.
extremely.
You are going to have unsafe crossings.
Yeah.
You are going to have to constantly be vigilant. You can't just put on some headphones and go walk to the Home Depot.
Nah.
I mean, many people do. I've seen them all the time. I have to that's why I ride my bike. Even if I was riding through the shopping center on my bike, for instance, one level up from pedestrian, if you will, I wouldn't ride it on the sidewalks because a lot of people do have headphones in and it's just hard to get their attention. But there is no bike lane on these roads either, so I'd be right up in it with the car, which I'm used to, but it'd be cool if every road had a bike lane. I'd prefer it that way personally, and I'd prefer it if every road had a...
Here's a good example. That we're going to get this little crosswalk area here to cross the entrance to the Home Depot.
Yeah.
But how do we get across the way to get to the Target?
We'll just have to let all the cars know that we're going across.
I mean, yeah, we just got to jump across traffic, really.
It's Frogger, baby.
Yeah,
I tell you, that's
we just have to jump across traffic here.
you should have brought a car, dummy. What else?
Yeah, where's your car?
Where's your car? Oh yeah, we're gonna get hit.
Yeah.
Hey, hit him with
You
the
almost
pump
got
fake.
hit.
Pump fake. I
Okay.
said we go one at a time.
Why are we doing that?
Because I'm on a video.
I'm safe. There's no sidewalk over here though, so we'll all have to commune on this little corner.
I will say, personally, for me, as an avid jaywalker, I really don't have much problem crossing a street without a crosswalk. But that's just me.
Yeah, it's just you. What if you have a disability?
I mean,
or
if I didn't
something?
have legs, I'd probably feel some kind of way about it.
Yeah, facts. What if here's a good one. What if you're carrying 3 small children? We are now walking down the middle of the driveway because there is no sidewalk or anything. But this is this is
To
great.
get from one store to another store, you're supposed to have a car.
You have to have a car. Like John's saying, it's not even like you want a car, or it would be nice if you had a car.
Yeah.
Like you have to have a car.
I mean, you don't have to.
But I mean,
That's for us, guys.
Yeah, he's following us around.
no, I
If we
mean,
get closer to the buildings, they have some little
I'm
wraparounds.
glad you bring up closer to the building. Please stay right here, gents. Look how much fucking parking spaces there are out here. I mean, what the fuck? Like we are on this is the far lot. Then this is all still lot back here. So
the
even
other
to
half,
get,
the front half of the lot.
and we've already determined that there's 50 to 60,000 accidents per year that happen in a parking lot, and this is how much parking lot you have to traverse to get closer to the store.
And parking lots, like you said, are dangerous.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they are
especially this big.
plentiful.
This big. I mean, dude. We're still walking. I mean, if we want to get to Target here, we're gonna have to cross about 7 or 8 rows of parking.
We have to be on our P's and Q's because it seems to be a very well-traversed street, even though it's in the middle of a parking lot with a Target and a Toys R Us.
Yeah. It's actually very high traffic here for this area. But this is like the funnel in and out of the whole store. So, they did give you this little.
Hey, look, guys.
What is that?
That's a sidewalk. It's really just a drainage gutter, but
I
yeah.
think it's a drainage gutter, really.
But it is interesting, man, you know, in the sense of like infrastructure, how it's not really built. Like even in between all these rows of parking, they went with like decor rather than the idea of creating some type of like walking space.
I love that. How in the desert they're just like, let's just put dead bushes in between the rows of the parking spaces.
These are really interesting walking trails. Interesting.
Well, I was going to mention that, yeah. I mean, if you think about it in one way, maybe these extra parking spaces are to give the people who want to do donuts somewhere to do donuts at night. Because there are quite a few donut marks on these parking lots
It's about
out
vehicle
here.
safety.
Vehicle safety, exactly.
Vehicle safety. We want to make sure that our shopping centers are safe for our vehicles.
When they do donuts.
This is
Correct.
this is my point that I would like to make too, which is just like this was empty space, right? And I guess they're building out for their future or something like that. I don't know, but this is what they think of their future. Like, we need 1,000 extra parking spaces.
Yeah.
You know, not the idea of maybe having like a communal area here or like
a Target
a
recreation
center or who fucking knows, anything like a youth education center or something. Like, we could do so much with this space, in the way that we think about like how we're designing it for our future, rather than the idea of like, you know what we're gonna need 10 years from now, like about 10,000 more parking spaces.
When Target has a sale, they're gonna need the extra spaces.
At the rate of people buying cars and cars becoming just beyond commonplace to essential, like Kaczynski was saying, we're gonna need more parking spaces.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll give them some credit, like, right, like this empty space out behind this lot, like if you look all the way to the end there where the rocks and stuff begin, those will be other establishments. And so this is one thing I learned from the EOS, like our gym parking lot, which has a huge lot like this. Then they started building other establishments
Stuff in it.
so
yeah.
right, so those were parking lots pre-built for these other places. But you know, the idea that we couldn't have just created a small central lot and then made it able to walk around from that central lot.
Yeah, like an open air atrium or something.
Something like that could have really been like, it just shows me a little bit how our mindset is in our infrastructure building, that we are pigeonholing ourselves into the idea of having cars. Like,
100%.
we're not even thinking about any type of transportation outside of car use.
Also, we haven't really touched on the business culture. So if you're a small business, it's not like you can go and like buy a property and have your business on this property in a strip mall. Your strip mall is a rented. So somebody owns these buildings and you rent it out.
True.
So you're not going to be able to
Outbid Target.
Yeah, you're not going to outbid Target and construct an outdoor area. It's just not going to work.
No.
So if you have, let's say, a smoke shop and you rent out one of these spaces, they're going to tell you, hey man, no outdoor seating out here.
Yeah.
You know, it's the regulations here. Hey, I'm the landowner, buddy. I'm the landlord. So get that bench out of here. We don't want people sitting around. It's a liability. It's insurance. People get injured. It's the entire culture to just have a nice flat wall of windows that you can walk in and walk out. You better spend some money. Don't go sleep in your car in the parking lot. Don't you do it. Don't you do that. You could pay half a month's rent for an apartment on your car every month, but don't sleep in it.
But you're not allowed to sleep in it.
Don't sleep in it.
Not in our space. Not in one of our thousands of spaces.
This is reserved for when we have sales.
You cannot park in this space, okay? This is the property of Mr. Target.
Interesting.
Babies R Us has a bench in front of it.
Babies R Us is shut down too.
You were gonna sit on a defunct Babies R Us? That's a great place to do a podcast.
Yeah, they do.
I wouldn't want to sit in front of an open.
But they do
space.
have a couple benches though, which is I'm not here to try and bend society into my like viewpoint, right? Like, so it's like I'm gonna give them the pluses where I see the pluses and stuff. So they got a couple benches.
More dead trees than I'd like, but you know.
But you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing too, is like they just didn't even really care about what went out there. They were just like, shove some shit in there, you know, but just make sure you shape it in the parking lot.
Yeah, make sure it has a curb for the tires to bump against.
They put lights all the way through the whole thing, like,
and they turn them on every night.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for what? I like what John said about these shopping carts too. They were like, yo, we made a place for your shopping carts, but not your feet.
Well, that's why they put a space for it, because it's not your shopping cart, it's their shopping cart. They paid for it, so they want you to put it back.
There's more shopping cart corrals than there are benches. So
That's very true. Very true. And once again, I think that that's because the shopping carts belong to the businesses.
This is such a good point right here about how much I just hate even having to walk from my car to the store.
building.
Like, that's where I always feel the most dangerous.
Yeah, count how many times our heads are swiveled.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
You got
You gotta
to.
live with your head on a swivel these days.
Let's see if maybe we can pull up on that Babies R Us bench there.
Sure.
I don't think there's one on the other side of Target there.
Yeah. They'd have ripped it out by now.
Nice, clean, trash-free parking lot, nice and clean. Check out our sidewalk here. Yummy. Check out our sitting area. Don't you want to lay your hand down on this grime right here, dog? But it's cool. Hey, don't worry. Our buggies are clean. Clean buggies.
It's not really for sitting. It's more like for show, honestly.
Honestly, it's like a
This bench is like
decoration.
black metal and then stone, and we live in like one of the hottest places in the whole country.
Yeah. No, this is, I mean, like, you could just tell how much we're roasting. Just
We're like an hour from Death Valley. We're in the middle of the desert.
This is a place for you to wait for your Uber.
This is a place where you're gonna get fucking melanoma waiting for your Uber.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, even if I was waiting for an Uber, I really wouldn't even want to sit here.
And it speaks to how often this bench is used, that there's a decomposed bird foot just kind of chilling on it.
Yeah.
Literally.
So, I mean, I guess a lot of people sit here.
Honestly, though, we are on outside the defunct Toys R Us, though, so that does make sense that not often people are sitting here.
Closest
But
bench to Target, though.
that's what I was gonna make the sense too. Is like Target doesn't have any benches though. They skipped out on that tremendously. But you know, that's true too, man, in the sense of like, you know, I hate to see like those benches where they design specifically so homeless people won't like sleep on them.
Yeah.
You know, like they put some type of deterrent in there, like a little bump or something, just to make sure it's not comfortable,
Yeah.
so that you don't even think about pulling up here, because we definitely want you to have a house and we definitely want you to have a car.
The homeless guy that slept at the bus stop near my apartment on the other side of town didn't sleep on the bench because it has that middle bump, so he slept on the ground, stuffed in to one of the bottoms of the bench.
Yeah. And that's just tragic, you know what I mean? Like, I get that you don't want to promote that. I get that part, but like, I don't know. There's this weird thing that we do in society where we act like people want to be at the bottom. Nobody loves being homeless. Like, I don't think that, I mean, I'm sure people choose it as a lifestyle, but I'm saying like, that's not something that most people are like aspiring to be. And so the idea that we have to like persuade them away from it is silly to me. You know what I mean? Like,
I think an adoption of a harm reduction would be a better idea. Like, find
Right.
some way to, you know, reduce the homeless death rate or the disease rate or the drug use rate, rather than make it so they can't sleep comfortably.
Facts. I love that idea. It's such a good point.
Yeah, like it, you know, it goes to show how we think about things. You know, like you said, if we have a problem with homeless people sleeping on our benches, our thought is, well, let's make the benches in such a way that people won't want to sleep on them, rather than being like, I wonder why there's all these people out here without places to sleep.
Yeah.
Let's
house these people. Don't house them.
Don't house them.
Fuck
Make
their
it-
benches up.
Give them somewhere to go.
Make it even more difficult for them to exist, because like they got to exist somewhere. I don't know where the fuck everybody like
Underground, because
Yeah.
you push them to the further fringes of your society, because that's how it works. It's
Want them
out
to
of sight,
disappear, yeah.
out of mind.
Yeah. I'm picking it up. I think that if we had tried to do this podcast in the studio, I wouldn't really understand the idea that we're trying to set forth, you know, but sitting here with my ass just extremely baking away on this bench, and thinking about like, what if I had just had to walk from Home Depot to Target to Staples, and now I gotta walk back home, which is the thing, like that's not like undoable. Maybe it's a 3-mile walk, but you're gonna want somewhere to rest.
Of course.
You're gonna want somewhere to stop. And
Rest
the
with dignity and
only
stop
place
with
I can
dignity.
do that is on this scorching hot bench. Like,
I don't-
it's burning my ass.
I don't feel dignified sitting next to a decomposed bird foot. Like, this area right here is...
And there is no dignity in walking, though, bro.
Yeah,
There
that's
is
the
none.
point,
There
right? Is
none.
that they
like, even when I see people, I think, poor
and it's
sap.
and it's designed that way.
Yeah,
it's a
it's true.
culture, and it's not just a culture, it's also like a business.
Yeah,
They want you in the car. This isn't making them any money.
yeah, that's true.
I definitely can't sit on this bench anymore.
No, my ass
Hey,
is
we
on
did it.
fire.
So you have a beautiful Chick-fil-A over here. But when you're incentivized to eat in your car, this is what happens. all these people eat in their car. There's no trash cans or community gatherings, so you just dump it in your parking spot. Yeah, we're gonna get hit.
Oh yeah, look, here it is. Like
I'm gonna let you make that decision for yourself.
I don't know, but I love that we had to do that dance on camera immediately. Like, we're pedestrians in a parking lot. How do we? What do we do? I'm sorry for existing without a car. I apologize. So in full disclosure, we drove because it's impossible to walk to where we are right now.
We'd be littered with sweat right now.
If we had to walk to each of these locations, this would be a 7-hour journey.
It would have taken us hours, days maybe. So we drove about 10 miles across town, and now we're here outside car dealership row, I guess.
Yet another shopping center, but this one unique in its shopping decor.
Yeah.
Here you're shopping for a debt
Another
machine.
vehicle.
Yeah,
Which is funny that you can't even walk to buy a car. Yeah. You have to drive. You have to find somebody else.
Car dealership that was like easy to get to on foot.
Like even if you don't have a car, you need to find a car to go get you a car.
You would think that the car dealership would be the one place that they would want you to easily walk to, but it's not.
All right, here we are outside the future home of Centennial Subaru. Oh, it's over there. There it is. So what's interesting about this place that we're at right now, I would say, is that is a future car dealership. That is a future car dealership. Right next to that is a Buick car dealership that exists. And then across the street over there is a Dodge Jeep car dealership. And on the other side of this future Centennial Subaru is a Hyundai dealership. Okay, so we have 7 different vehicle makers.
And I noticed as we were driving in, they actually all sell all vehicles.
Oh yeah,
They sell whatever.
Yeah, they'll sell your Honda at the Subaru store.
Oh, for sure.
Because they'll give you $1,000 for it.
Yeah, the trade-in, right? Yeah. So it's like, because damn, crazy. Don't even get me started on the fact that all these also are their own used car dealerships. How much inventory do you feel like each one of these dealerships is holding?
A minimum 300 cars.
Yeah, they gotta have at least a couple hundred cars.
It has to be.
At an average of 35 grand a piece, I'd say.
I mean, at the size of the parking lot,
I'll do that math.
You just it's gotta be a lot.
You said about 7 dealerships, right?
Yep.
Let's get an idea for how many dollars worth of cars are sitting out here.
2,
Or will be.
3, 4, 5. Why do they congregate too? It's so weird. I mean, I guess I do understand why they congregate.
I mean, if you're shopping for a car, it makes it easy.
Right, and then you want to kind of entice other people from like your competitors, you know, your competitors.
Do you guys want to know how many dollars worth of cars will likely be sitting on this one street once all these buildings are finished?
Please. Yeah, let's hear it.
About $73.5 million worth of cars.
So yeah, let's round it up. 75 mil worth of cars.
Yeah. After they get you on the insurance and the little, the warranty and everything, they'll squeeze you for them.
Yeah.
I said about 300 cars average at about $35K a piece, 7 dealerships.
I'm trying to get us away from the road here. Up our quality of sound.
Walking away from a road is difficult because they're fucking everywhere. There's just roads on roads on roads.
That's true, man. That's why gotta get in the asphalt business. Concrete, dude. That's where the money's
Big
at.
asphalt?
Yeah, big asphalt.
Big asphalt.
Is who's really got all the money.
Hey, we got some shade though,
we
guys.
talk about big tech.
We got some shade. Look at the view.
And I think we come here, for me personally, this is where I put in kind of one of my final points, or really the thing that I think adds up to like why everything's built the way it is, right? And it's that 75 million that you just talked about. The banks are forever looking for a reason to give out loans. You know, like that's just how our economics work, in the sense like you have to issue debt in order to create currency. That's just like how our money actually works. And so they're constantly trying to develop vehicles that allow them to issue debt to the American public.
That's why they don't like Tesla.
Yeah, that's probably why Tesla's still a form of debt too.
Well, the idea being there is that like the resale value. I was talking to our friend about his Tesla, and he was like, if I bring my Tesla back to the dealership right now, they'll give me more money than I paid for. It's kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Well, yeah, because the value of them are up high now because everybody wants to move electric now that gas prices are like insane. But I mean, still, like you said, each one of those cars, in today's market, like $30,000 minimum for like just a standard Honda Accord. Let's just call it mid-level, mid-option Honda Accord.
Just call it a new car.
Basic new car.
Yeah, 30
You're looking
grand.
for about 30 grand, which, come to find out, dude, the average car payment for a Las Vegas resident is $575 a month.
That was more than my rent.
What?
Yeah.
That was more than my rent like 3 years ago.
What? Like, that's insane. The average. I'm like, how are people affording that out here? Like, you know what I mean? That shit blew me away because I haven't had a car payment in so long.
They're not affording it.
They're not.
They're treading water.
They're not affording
Yeah.
it. They're dying underneath a 3.9% interest rate
Yeah.
on that. And like I said, it's just banks. It's just banks. Banks want to make cars because a car is a $30,000 note, just like they want to sell houses. You know, they want to. That's why if you also go around and look at Las Vegas, house after house after house, and I just think it's these banks that are just trying to issue debt, man. And so they've designed the society in a way that is conducive to their ability to
You hit on it.
issue debt.
You hit on it right there. They designed it that way because if the banks weren't wanting people to take out loans to buy cars, these buildings wouldn't look like this.
Yeah.
Our culture wouldn't necessarily be this way.
Yeah.
But we've spent how many years? 1980 or 1880? What was the car?
1886.
1886. So we've had let's call it industrial, like assembly line manufactured cars for maybe 100 years, and look what we've done in 100 years. We've
Changed
created
the entire fabric of society.
Yeah, we've created an entire society around a mech machine.
Yeah.
It just drives us around it. Here's my funny point on that too. If I make an oopsie while I'm walking, even if I'm with a group of people and I make an oopsie and I fall down in front of everybody, I might knock some people over. Nobody's gonna get seriously injured. I make an oopsie in a 2017 Kia Rio, we're all dead. Everybody who was around my oopsie is dead.
Dead.
It's going to be $150,000 in medical bills for my oopsie.
I mean, that's the risk you take on for the convenience of driving.
There is convenience, and that's one thing to note, right?
The chain of convenience.
But that's the thing.
It is. I mean, well, it's funny because it was convenient at the time. Like, we came up with cars when things were very far apart from things. And so it was like, great, now instead of having to walk there or take a horse or in a buggy, like I could just drive my car to this very far away place. But then when everybody got a car, they started designing their cities very far away.
Yeah.
And so now you live somewhere where you're literally very far away from your job. You're very far away from your grocery store.
Yeah.
You're very far away from everything you need. So you have to have the car. And so
Yeah.
what was once convenient is now inconvenient if you don't have the car.
That was
Hilarious.
Kaczynski's point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
we lived into the car to where
Right.
we pigeonholed ourselves in the sense to now where it's like, dang, we're finding out fossil fuels weren't necessarily the best idea, but here we are 1.4 billion cars deep into it now.
Building more
Well, that's just the cars
dealerships
that are in-
every
No,
day.
yeah, still
that's just the
going
cars that are in use.
in use.
Those
In
are not
use.
like all the cars
that have ever been made. So I mean, we've definitely, but that, you know, that's the idea. Is like you said, it did start off as a convenience, but we have this weird obsession with taking our conveniences too far. Same thing with like fast food. You know, is great. That's fine if you wanted to have that option. But now a lot of people live on an entire diet predicated by fast food.
And to bring that point full circle to how society is built around it that way, you're going to have a fast food joint on every corner and a superstore full of groceries, maybe, you know, for 3.5, 4 or 5 miles away from your cluster of all your fast food joints. Like it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Plus, if we wanted to, let's just say, for instance, we were people that had to survive on fast food, you know, like that's just, we're in that mindset, that's all we got time for because we're working 5 jobs or whatever, and we didn't have a car, we couldn't go through this drive-through.
No, sir.
They would not let you walk through the drive-through.
They will not.
You couldn't walk up and be like, hey, can I get a blah, 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 blah?
I still haven't even figured out why that's the case.
They say it's safety reasons because the insurance
they can't
of a
have you
vehicle.
around all the cars.
Because
Yeah.
you're not allowed to cohabitate with
Somebody
the
might
cars.
make an oopsie and splatter your brains all over their fucking
Smash
dollar
you in
menu.
front of somebody else.
And that in the sense is our synopsis in a nutshell too, is like we are being pushed out by the cars. You know, like you said, your ability to even exist is like you're no longer allowed. You can't cohabitate with cars.
What about vehicular dignity?
Yeah.
Well, think about this. You know, like now they've got, my mom was talking about like telehealth with me when we were on vacation recently. And, you know, so now they got telehealth where you can like talk to a doctor and get your prescriptions over the phone. They've got drive-through. I've been to a drive-through smoke shop. They've got you know, you can see where it's going, you know, eventually. If you're not ordering everything online, you won't even have to go into the store. You could just drive through to the Macy's and get, you know, you'll just buy everything online.
And just
and
pick
instead
it up.
of, and if you really don't want to have it shipped, you can just do the drive-through at Macy's, and they'll have it there, and you can just drive through and everything. Drive through your groceries, you get your drive-through groceries.
I would like to hit back to a callback episode of the Protopia episode that we did, and a couple of them where we were talking about the future designs of some cities, and a lot of Telosa and stuff like that, right? Like they were actually very cognizant of this idea and were like trying to design.
They were thinking
in a way that, you know, had more mass transportation, you know, and like other options. We see our man's trying to ride his bike through the parking lot here. Like shout out our mans, you know, like using alternate forms of transportation and not just pigeonholing ourselves into a car. Because I never thought about it before when you were talking about the food, but damn, like each one of these fast foods could be just a fresh food market. You know, like little fresh food markets everywhere on the corner. You know, like that's a fruit stand, that's a you know, bread shop or whatever.
Healthy options.
You know what I mean? That's what it could be. Instead, we could have mini grocery stores on every corner. Instead, we have like fast food and car dealerships.
How long ago could we have switched to mostly electronic vehicles?
Oh, ages ago.
Not that you know, doesn't use like coal burning energy and stuff like that, but we're just talking about, you know, gas emissions.
No, for real. And just like the idea, like that we're already this deep into cars and we're building more car dealerships instead of the idea of like, what if we move to trikes? What if we try powered bicycles? What if we tried hovercrafts? Hovercrafts got to be coming soon enough. You know, it's like weird that we think like this is a good idea and then we just run that into the ground.
And not only that, it homogenizes so that all the SUVs, I'll put this great graphic up, all these SUVs are the same. There's like 40 of them that you can't tell their silhouette apart. It's ridiculous.
100% the truth. Bro.
They're actually made by the same company.
Yeah.
The same parent company makes all of them, and they're literally the same thing.
You get me started about why this is Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep over here. You know, they're all the same fucking thing.
Come down to Saab, Ford, Mercury, Sable.
You know what else is really funny about this too is like you brought up gas emissions, John. And one thing that I think is really funny about like living in a city where you have to have a car to get around, it's like you're choosing to live somewhere where you know the air is filled with toxic fumes literally everywhere. Like literally you're living in a soup of toxic fumes. And like just think about like if you're sitting in traffic and you're just like, let's say you have to spend 1 hour in traffic on the way home to and from work every day. And like maybe you want to roll with your windows down or whatever. Like you're just breathing, like you're literally sitting in like the most concentrated soup of emissions that you could possibly be sitting in, unless you like tape a hose into your car from your muffler. Like that's like the next step up.
I thought about this when I was like, I can jump in the car and I can go down to the grocery store and I could burn fossil fuels and I could start this big heavy engine and I could propel this death machine, or I could jump on my bike and I can spend the extra 15 minutes pedaling and using like the fuel of my energy to get me there. And I was like, you know, it's not a big difference. You know, I'm not BP oil company. I'm not going to save the world, but it felt better. It just felt like my interaction with my environment was healthier and better. It was a good little bean I got out of it.
I always love when you call them mech suits because that's really what they are.
They are.
It's a mech suit.
Look at all these mech suits, dude.
Just like,
those are all giant steel mech suits that you can put weapons on them, smash them into each other. There's a whole sport about it.
Just as our cell phone has become that, it's like becoming like our AI HUD, you know, it's like become a part of us. Our cars, in the same sense too, have like integrated into what it means to be a human being. It's like part of your humanness now. It's weird.
You could get upset and be like, I'm gonna go sit in my car and cry. Because it's a safety zone. It's a safe spot.
It's a place where you like, you know,
you can be isolated.
Like you said, you should be able to live in it, but for some reason, that's a whole nother topic of discussion one day.
I have a great point to this idea of being safe in the car, because, you know, you can make the argument you're not necessarily safe in your car, but I've struggled with anxiety for a long time. You know, going out in public can sometimes be a difficult chore, but I have never been inside of a car where I can lock the doors and felt unsafe. Like, I could get into a mech suit, you know, airtight, tighten the airlocks, you know, and just go out into space with no fear.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a control because I have this giant weapon. You know, it's like having a big gun. I'm just walking around with a big gun.
It's a big little shell that cases you in. It's temperature controlled. You can control every element inside of it. What did you hear and all
You
that
adjust
stuff?
the angle of your pelvis
Yeah.
in order to rest your body.
So that makes sense. I feel why you. I see why you feel that way.
I mean, there's good things about cars.
There
I'm not like trying to say
good.
that cars
I'm
are
not
bad.
shitting on
I'm just
cars.
saying, like, maybe we could think about our societies in a way that isn't car-centric.
Agreed.
I kind of fuck with that.
You know?
It's the problem there is that we can all agree that it would be beneficial to society. But if we let society decide, society will decide, more than likely, to just keep using cars.
Yeah.
Because of the comfort, the ease of access, the way it's designed. Nobody wants to go against the design.
You got to kind of think too, like you said, it's very suggestive, right? Like everything you know about the world, you learned from being in the world. And so how often do people really think about, like I said, it was even hard for me to vision society without them, you know? Like it's even just having conversations like this where we imagine what life would be like, because one day maybe gas does fucking end and then we're gonna have to figure it out anyways, you know? Or like sometimes I think about, what if electricity goes out, we do get hit with the EMP, you know? And it's like
I was about to
we're
make
gonna
that
have
point.
to reimagine all these things, you know?
And that's why I like being able, like, I'm used to riding my bike, because, like, if the shit hits the fan and you can't get no gas, I'm good. I got the strength. My Chevrolet's been running
Yes, sir.
since 2004.
Yeah, I just
you know?
tuned mine up.
Yeah.
Tuned mine up 2 years ago, boy.
You know? So, you know, I feel bad for a lot of people. They be trying to hop on a bike for the first time. They be, oh.
Yeah.
Dude,
Since like they
ass.
were 6 years old, they be like, I don't know how to do this.
Every time I work out, when it gets tough, I think about the apocalypse.
Yeah.
I'm like,
What
you're
would
gonna
you
want
do?
to, yeah. One of these days, you're gonna need to run, and you're gonna wish that you had that ability, or be able to walk 10 miles.
That's why, like, I like to get an orange and just practice, like, biting someone's neck out.
Yeah.
Because I know that a day is going to come where someone bigger and stronger than me in the apocalypse has my food or my family member, and I'm gonna have to Rick Grimes them. So I practice.
I'm not.
Savage.
Too funny.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber. You go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself.
We're here surrounded by hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of brand new GMC, Ford, Chevy, Chrysler, Mercury, Mazdas.
Just rows on rows.
Just
To
rows
hire
on
you to
rows,
do
baby.
a commercial.
Expedition. What do you think? What do you think the price is on this one? Take your best bet here. Standard options. Don't look at the sticker. What do you guess?
They're not gonna tell you.
Oh, they're not gonna tell us.
You know what I'm telling you, no.
Sometimes they do.
I've noticed now they have the down payments.
Oh,
so when you
like-
pass by, you'll be like, $300.
yeah.
And it's like, only $300.
Man, this piece of junk got 100,000 miles on it. Get the fuck out of here, Jerry Steiner. Jerry Steiner, you trying to sell me 100K miles on that?
Maybe they think we're shopping.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we just walked here. You know, we need a car.
Damn, but look at that row, dude. That's crazy to just see, like, just rows on rows on rows of this shit, dog.
Every brand you can want, baby. Every brand you can want.
Look at it, just rolls right into, like, we're on the Buick lot right now, but then it just turns into like a Mazda.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, keep going. We got Toyota over
It's
here.
easier to walk from the Ford dealership to the Mazda dealership than it is to walk from your house to the grocery store.
100.
Look, they got nice sidewalks.
Yeah,
They're
dude,
ready
they're
to go,
fucking
baby.
set up, bro.
Cleaned up. Another car dealer.
The best.
Yeah, they go really well together.
I have been thinking about getting me one of these Jeeps, though.
Who asked?
We can go get you a loan right now. We can get you a 6 year, 18% interest. Oh man, you'll love it. You'll love it for the whole 6 years when you eventually own it. Oh.
When you eventually own it?
Yeah, when
but
you
of course,
own it in 6 years.
by the time you actually own it, it'll be time to get a new one.
Yeah, when
you know?
you've paid $80,000 on your $60,000 Jeep, and you own it, shit, yeah, then it's 8 years old. Hell yeah, dude. Let's go get one right now.
8 years old, and then you're just going to be convinced for some odd reason that you're going to have to upgrade.
Let's call them in, dude. I'm going to buy a car right now.
Get right back into that loan cycle. I would love to see the statistics of how many Americans actually have a fully paid off vehicle.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that would be interesting to find out too. Like,
Funny. I bet you that number is a hilarious, it's a laughing stock.
This shit hard though. I don't give a fuck. That shit hard. In the green, put the Ride the Planner logo on the side. That concludes our episode of Pedestrian Dignity. Right there.
Dudes walking around looking at stuff.
I feel like I've been respected by my city's road system. I feel dignified. I feel safe, you know?
I don't really feel safe though. I don't really feel safe. There could be arguments.
Of metal passing you at 45 miles an hour that makes you feel unsafe.
Zipping, dog. You know, but it's just like you said too. There's no such thing as dignity in pedestrianism. Like every time I drive by and I look at a pedestrian, I don't think, oh man, look at this man being environmentally conscious or like choosing, using his American right to choose to walk.
What went wrong in his life?
Yeah, you're
fucked
fucked up because you're walking, and there's something wrong with you because why would you walk? Like, yeah, never even thought about it.
Take a car, you fool.
I never even thought about it.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.